For 10,000 years, the House of Vyrix ruled the Selenari Empire with unbroken lineage. Their blood, laced with psionic clarity and crystalline genetic precision, was considered divine, untouched by impurity, uncontaminated by emotion. Until Princess Alaria Vyrix, heir to the throne, broke centuries of law with 3 whispered words: "I choose him." The Imperial Hall fell into silence so deep, the stars outside seemed to flicker in response. Every noble's gaze turned toward the one she pointed to, a human, standing awkwardly in formal robes, unarmed, and thoroughly out of place. Captain Elias Rain of Earth's Interstellar Exploration Corps. He wasn't royalty. He wasn't even psychic. He was, in the eyes of the court, less than nothing, a species that still used combustion engines a century ago. But Alaria's voice was clear, unwavering. "I do." The first time they met, Elias had crash-landed in Sector 9A on a moon, long considered sacred Vyrix soil. Protocol dictated his immediate execution. Instead, she appeared curious, kind, different. "Why do you smile so much?" She'd asked him once, studying his face like a curious artifact. "Because hope feels better than fear," he answered. No Vyrix had ever spoken of hope. They operated on logic, prediction, mental command. But Alaria began to ask questions that no Vyrix noble had ever dared. What if logic fails? What if love matters more than legacy? In secret, she walked Earth cities in disguise, learning to laugh, to dance, to taste coffee. She held Elias's hand under moves that didn't belong to her empire. And when he held hers back gently, protectively, she realized something terrifying. She didn't want the throne. She wanted him. When she announced their bond publicly at the Royal Convergence, the Empire shook. "No outsider can bond with a Bloodline heir," shouted High Chancellor Varent. "He is genetically incompatible, emotionally unstable, human." "He is what we were before we forgot," Alaria answered, "and what we need to remember." Elias said nothing. He didn't have to. The courage to stand beside her, to not flinch while being called a contaminant, that was declaration enough. The assassination attempts came first. Alaria's personal guards fell one by one, replaced only by human marines from Earth's diplomatic fleet who refused bribes, resisted telepathic suggestion, and didn't care about ancient blood. Then came the political exile. The Empire cut ties with Earth. Trade lines severed. Peace treaties suspended. Earth didn't retaliate. They waited. Watched. And prepared. Because even the youngest Terran child knew when one of their own is attacked for loving freely, humanity remembers. On the eve of her coronation, Alaria vanished, kidnapped by her own uncle, Lord Vasker, and taken to the Node Chamber's genetic sanctuaries used to purge taint from the bloodline. He would erase her memories, correct her impulses, and restore the purity of Vyrix. What he didn't expect was that humans don't abandon their own. Elias came not with armies, but with conviction, using nothing but an outdated starfighter, stolen codes, and Earth's most dangerous trait, determination. He reached the Node Chambers. The Vyrix guards used telekinetic blasts. He ducked. They used psychic illusions. He ignored them. They used fear. He laughed. Because humans evolved on a death world. Because humans survive hurricanes, plagues, extinction events, and still find time to write poetry. Because one man in love is more dangerous than 1,000 gods. When Elias broke into the purification chamber, Ilaria was barely conscious. Her crown had been removed, her psionic circuits disconnected. Her eyes fluttered open at his voice. "I'm here." She smiled weakly. "You're late." Then, everything changed. Ilaria's latent power surged, not in reaction to pain or tradition, but to love. The fusion of her genetic heritage and Elias's stubborn humanity caused a quantum ignition. The walls cracked. The chamber collapsed. The bloodline evolved. Months later, aboard Earth's diplomatic ship Unity, Princess Alaria Vyrix Rain stood with Elias at her side. She was no longer heir to the throne. She had become something new. A bridge, a hybrid, a queen not of bloodlines, but a possibility dot when the Selenari emissaries returned. Humbled by economic collapse and internal revolt, they did not demand her return. They requested her audience. Historians would one day write, the bloodline was pure until a human smiled. And the princess smiled back. And that was when the empire began to feel alive again. And somewhere in the stars, a little girl born with starlight in her eyes and humanity in her heartbeat would ask her mother, "Why did you marry a human, Mama?" Ilaria would kiss her forehead and reply, "Because he made me choose love. And I never wanted to be pure again."